game probably won the series. Did you feel that way, that game 4 is what swung that entire series?
Well, it was a big turn for us. I mean, we couldn't afford to give them any confidence in tying the series up. So I felt like that put us over the edge.
Kobe, what do you make of the news today with Derek Fisher's firing from the Knicks?
What do I make of it?
What was your reaction to it?
It's part of the job. I mean, part of the job. You know, he'll get another job somewhere else, and he'll go on to be a good coach again. I mean, it's the nature of the beast.
Does he still sense he has an interest in coaching?
Do I sense it?
Talking to him.
I haven't spoken to him yet. I know he likes teaching the game. I know he likes being around the game. So I'm sure he'll pop up somewhere as a head coach. But somebody is a head coach of a team, and it's rare that you see a person be a head coach for a team for their entire careers. You know what I mean? It's tough.
As a guy who's played against some of your idols growing up, you're now going against Paul George. He openly admits he grew up watching you, wore number 24 because of you. What do you now take as you walk away seeing these young people who grew up idolizing you?
No, I mean, it's a great sense of responsibility to pass on some of that knowledge to them, and then hopefully it continues to be this cyclical thing where, when they hit the stage of their careers where, guys are growing up watching them, they're able to pass on the knowledge to the next generation, and then it just goes on and on and on. So, I feel really good about that.
Speaking of passing on knowledge, any of that to share with Paul and what it takes to go from being a talented young player to a great player?
He and I have talked about that several times, and it seems very simple. The answer seems very simple, which is just complete and utter focus on what it is that you're here to do, which is play the game of basketball, right? And from that simplicity, it becomes extremely more complex because you're dealing with multiple personalities, you're dealing with players and their own individual aspirations, and you have to figure out a way to get everybody on the same page to go in one direction, right? So what I figured out is that it's not just about the skills you possess, but it's also how you integrate everybody else's skills and emotion into it, which is the challenge, right? So it's not just him as a player and his skills, but it's also understanding those dynamics that help you win multiple championships.
Kobe, do you feel, I know you have a relationship with Peyton Manning because you came in here a few years ago and showed us a text that you had sent him, or just told us about a text that you had sent him. Do you feel a certain kinship with him now, both of you being at similar stages in your careers? And have you reached out to him since the Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, I haven't reached out to him. But yeah, I do feel that connection. We basically started around the same time. And I remember we came to a game, we played in Orlando, I think it was like 99. And he and I were talking in the locker room, and I was just asking him some football questions just because I'm insanely curious about how he goes through his progressions, right? And so he gives me this answer that I swear might as well have been Mandarin. All this cover two, mock, da 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 da. I was like, Peyton, in English, But he has such an awareness, and he's a football geek, and how much he prepares and studies. So I couldn't be any happier for him.
You said recently you want to work in the postseason with Andrew Wiggins and the other kid, Zach LaVine. Do you have a desire to be like what Hakeem Olajuwon is doing with the big guys? Just kind of take them to your ranch, I don't know, sometime in the offseason and teach them some skills? Yeah,
I mean, with me, it's more talking than anything. It's more understanding. It's not necessarily the skills. You know what I mean? It's at this level, those type of players, generally the skills are on par. But it's really understanding why certain things happen, or how to make certain things happen, which is more conversation. It's more, study based than it is, physical.
You've had some really good games lately. Could you tell earlier in the day, those days, it was coming?
Nope.
Okay, so my next question: any idea tonight?
Nope. You know what I mean? It could either be shit or Shinola, man. Yeah, well, one's better than the other.
A couple years ago, you had, I think you stepped on Dante's ankle down in Atlanta. Am I right about this?
Yeah.
And there's a picture that got posted of the X-ray of your ankle, and then you come up here and play in this game here,
I tried.
and left after about a quarter.
Yeah.
Why did you try to play in that game with that ankle the way it was?
Well, I mean, because it's it's competitive nature to get out there and compete and try to see if I could give it a go. I couldn't. I could barely walk on the thing. But it's important to try. So.
You dropped the mic literally. What was your feeling going into your first NBA Finals? Championships have meant the world to you.
Yeah.
Going into that first opportunity for one, what was the feeling like?
Man, I was excited, extremely excited, and it's different than, like, if I compare it to our last championship against the Celtics, the mentality was much different because, I had won 4, and so it's like, okay, you can't lose this one. Whereas the first one was like, I can't wait to win this one. You know what I mean? And so when it's the first time around, you kind of have this young ignorance of just going out there and playing, and losing wasn't even a thought that even crossed my mind. It was like, man, I'm just going out there and going to work. Whereas later stages of your career, you become more conscious of the opportunity of failure. Could have just threw it right back to him.
Kobe, excuse the Peyton questions, but you're an Indiana.
Oh, that's fine.
You've been asked this a million times, but how did you know it was time? And what would you say to Peyton if he sought your counsel on whether to say goodbye or not?
Well, I mean, for me, it was a completely internal decision. Like, I knew it was time. I wasn't as obsessed about the game and the little nuances and the details. It didn't consume my everyday, being. And when that happened, which was new for me, it was like, it's time to walk away. And, everybody goes through it differently. Michael's read of it was different, had more to do with proving things. And for Peyton, I'm sure it's going to be different as well. So it's really just a matter of his internal clock and knowing, what makes him tick.
Kobe, you've played in several different eras, I guess, and you've seen the difference between guys playing from a competitive standpoint. The guys now, your younger guys, don't seem to be as hungry as they were when you started playing. Have you seen a difference in that? And what do you tell those young players now? What advice do you give them in terms of competing?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's different. I don't think guys are as openly competitive as maybe they used to be. It's hard to try to instill that into somebody and tell them to be competitive or have this sense of urgency or how much each possession means. It's hard to instill that into somebody. But that being said, they'll learn the hard way because inevitably there'll be a player that's extremely competitive, has a lot of skills, and is going to keep beating everybody until they figure out how to be competitive. So they'll learn one way or the other.
Kobe, again, the 2000 finals is the Pacers' only trip there, so it's still a bigger deal here probably than it was in LA. But did they give you a more difficult challenge in that series than you expected, or did it go pretty much how you thought it would going to 6 games?
I wouldn't know because I didn't have any expectations. I mean, because it was my first one. If you ask Phil thought the series went exactly as he thought it was going to go. How he came to that conclusion, I have no idea. It was just years of experience. But from his assessment, that's how he thought the series was going to play out.
Just following up on what I asked you earlier, do you ever regret playing through those types of injuries? I mean, do you ever feel like your body would, I guess you feel better tonight or you know better tonight how it would fare?
Oh, no. No. I mean, I can't, I mean, what could be better? I mean, I'm a guard that's playing in his 20th season. That's crazy. What am I going to play, 30 seasons if I didn't play? You know what I mean? That's a long time. and let alone to have certain nights where I move pretty damn well with the style of play that I played with. I mean, what more can I ask for? 20 is a long time. Yeah. Thank you, guys.